Call the roll.
Trustee Healy?
Here.
Trustee Katsinas?
Here.
Trustee Malani?
Here.
Trustee Compass?
Here.
Trustee Reardon?
Here.
Trustee Rashevsky?
Here.
Mayor Pico?
Here.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the May 20th, 2024 Committee of the Whole minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole of May 20th, 2024.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Compass?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Reardon?
Aye.
Trustee Rashevsky?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
An ordinance establishing a truck route.
We've got to do the non-scheduled
I'm
citizens
sorry.
and visitors for agenda-specific public comment. Do we have anyone signed in? Anyone to speak on an agenda item? Okay. Looks like no. Okay, now we can go on.
Sorry.
That's all right.
An ordinance establishing a truck route network throughout the village.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani.
move to recommend to the village board to adopt an ordinance entitled An Ordinance Creating a New Title IX Traffic, Chapter 9, Traffic Schedules, Section 9-9-17, Designated Truck Routes from the Orland Park Village Code.
Second.
Any comments?
Mr. Mayor? I have just some questions about this.
Well, you have a presentation?
We do.
Okay.
All right.
It's pithy,
Say that again, please.
short pithy.
Okay. I will keep it very short, Mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor and trustees. We initiated this study to understand our truck routes in the village as well as our rates for oversized, overweight vehicles. Civil Tech was our lead for that. Steve and Edith are here. If we have any more questions, you need more details, they'll be able to provide that. This is a little bit a long presentation, Mayor, but we'll cut it short as short as we can. So next slide, please. So again, I'm not going to go into details. Any slide you see, and if you have any questions on those, I'm just going to go through those. Again, the purpose is for us to establish a truck route that has proper signage. We do not currently have truck routes that have proper signage, and they're not recognized in our GIS system in our webpage. So that is the purpose of this whole exercise, is to see what kind of rates we are currently charging, what's the market trend is moving forward, and what should we be doing for our truck routes as well.
And the truck routes on the next ordinance, just to make it really simple and short, they're basically all the same as the current truck routes, because the current truck routes are currently IDOT and
Cook County.
And Cook County, correct?
Correct.
And then 183rd, which we had to provide access to get from LaGrange to Wolf Road, right? Those are it's basically the same as we currently have.
And 143rd, which is now our road for last several years, east of LaGrange. So that is part of the truck route as well.
Between Harlem and LaGrange, but that used to be an IDOT road that was built for that
That is
purpose.
correct. That is correct. So that's so just quickly, this slide will tell you what is our current permit fees are. Simplest example, under 88,000 pound total weight, we currently charge $50 for a single trip, $75 for a round trip, and if you have multiple trips, then it's $150. That is our current rate. But if you go down the list, that is our the current approach is based on the total weight of the truck. That's how our fee structures are set up. Next slide, please. Oxcart is our current software or the platform that our PD, police department, uses for issuing these permits and tracking these permits, and that will continue to be. We will just coordinate the details if you pass the ordinance to adjust any rate structures that we have, and we do have some minor adjustment that we are recommending to it. So we will continue to work with Oxcart, and police department will continue to do what they do. So next slide, please. This is just a current data from January 2022 to October 23. Oversize, we have 265. Overweight, we had 265, and oversize we had 444. These are, again, the trucks that are literally, that need a permit. Otherwise, by state law, we are required to allow this access if they need to come in.
It's only oversized and overweight that need permits.
Correct.
Right.
Just another data where violations were recorded, and you can see by year, 2018-19, it was, I don't know why they were so low, but then 22-23, it has moved up to not a significant, it's not a, statistically, it's not a significant volume that we were concerned about, but we have this data that is currently, our consultant searched it, and that's how they found it. Again, IDOT research, IDOT is going by axle weight. That's what moving forward, because single axle weight load of an axle is what really cause harm to our pavement, and that's where we are recommending, and our consultant is also recommending that we move forward where we will be doing that. Biaxle, all of that. Next slide, please. So here's the fee structure that we are proposing. And Edith, if you want to talk about a little bit what this fee structure, how is it different than what we have currently now, please move up to the podium and you can.
Sure, thank you, Krishit. If you want to go to the next slide. So our recommended overweight oversized fee structure is set up in 3 steps. The first step is pretty familiar to what we just saw with our existing fee structure. It's looking at the dimensions of the truck as well as the total weight. As you can see here as well, we have a total of 16 weight classes, which will come into play in the next step. But overall, this first step really helps you narrow down your weight class. Next slide, please. Yeah, so step 2, we're actually getting into the meat of the changes to this overweight, oversized fee structure. We're starting to look at the axle weight. And this is really what's going to determine, what the final fee is going to be. Next. And the third step is just the duration, whether you want to have it be a 5-day window, or a 10-day window. In addition, we're also recommending that further coordination with Oxcart is done so that an applicant can select their 5-day or 10-day window up to 45 days in advance. And that really helps the applicants sort of plan their trip in advance, just an added flexibility. Next slide, please. Yeah, so just a big summary, big picture context. So the fee range remains the same, $50 to $250, which is what is existing and also what is used locally and regionally. And also, by having these 16 weight classes, you actually have the flexibility to either increase or change or even focus on a specific weight class.
So Mayor, I just quickly, the round trip is moved up from 75 to 90. That is the only difference. If you like, we can stop our presentation here if you want to
I
listen.
think that's pretty good. I think that's what we needed. And then, Trustee Radiszewski, what questions did you have?
So is this, we're just adjusting the rates? Is this increasing the flow, will there be additional trucks on these roads?
No, this is not going to increase. We are in no way attempting to change the number of trucks on the road. This is simply addressing the current trucks that are on the road and making sure that they're paying their fair share in terms of how much pavement damage they're actually causing. So yes, the rates are increasing a little bit, but also we're focusing on the max axle weight instead of the total weight.
And it's also designating the truck routes. Right now, we don't have designated truck routes. So
Correct.
all IDOT roads are designated truck routes. The Cook County roads are designated truck routes. The previous IDOT road of 143rd Street from LaGrange to Harlem, it was previously a truck route and will be again. And then 183rd Street, which goes back to our industrial corridor from our only exit off of 355, that was built to handle trucks as well. Nowhere else, and that's where trucks are currently supposed to go. But now it'll all be clearly labeled, so if they're somewhere else, there's going to be tickets associated with that.
So just like Edith said, the primary purpose is change how we enforce a ticket, or not a ticket, but a permit. From total weight of the truck to axle weight of the truck. That's the formula.
That's the permit. The permit currently is still oversized and overweight trucks
Correct.
only. They require a permit now. We're just doing it to axle weight, which is more pertinent to the damage caused on the road, that's all. So there's no real effective change to how we do things, except that now if it's not a designated truck route, we have designated truck routes. So if they're driving between West Avenue and Ravinia on 153rd Street, for example, or, excuse me, Ravinia and LaGrange on 153rd Street, that's not on 153rd Street, that is not a truck route.
Designated truck route, that's correct. So it will be easier for our PD to
So it's easier for
monitor that.
our police department to monitor that stuff.
It's not going to increase any truck volume, or it's not going to decrease.
It's not
any
going to
truck-
effectively change anything that operates, it just puts it actually puts, like many of the other things that we've done, it puts an actual ordinance and structure in place where we didn't have one before, and we were kind of going like
It
this.
takes away an excuse they might have to say, well, I didn't see the designated truck route, or it didn't say something, and now that we have them, it'll make it very simple. We don't have to have arguments with our police or anything, because it'll be all designated now. Is that fair?
That is fair.
And if you wonder why you've seen more tickets this year and last, if you think about what's opened up around us in the last couple of years, you've had an Amazon in Tinley Park and some other things, so now you're probably seeing trucks, we're seeing trucks cutting through where they didn't used to. And/or we're just enforcing it better, but I would imagine it's a combination of both. So now there's no more excuses because we have a designated truck route, so you get somewhere else, you don't belong there.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee,
I'd like to know, how do we know when to pull a truck over? You don't pull every truck over, but
Right, so typically we have, in our traffic unit, we have truck enforcement officers. They go to specialized training. We have mobile scales, so our officers are out there enforcing the traffic laws with any semis or heavy load vehicles that they may see.
do you pull trucks over at random or just if they're, can't say? He's not going to answer.
That's a question for the traffic officers.
it varies. I can tell you if you're, for example, have a truckload of logs that look over full, higher than it should be, and you're probably going to get pulled over and someone's going to check. If you've got your landscape truck looks like it's filled higher than normal, than it would normally be, there's probably a higher likelihood that you're going to get pulled over and checked.
So another example, Trustee Healy, is that concrete trucks, typically they exceed their limits. And that's what we have seen. And especially if they have a rear axle, if it's not dropped, that means there's something's not right. And if they're loaded. So that's another industry-wide, we know that they generally violate.
When you see a open semi-truck with concrete and it's full, it's overweight. Can guarantee it. So.
Well, you're talking about two different things, though. I mean, you're talking about when they get pulled over, when they're on the wrong road. I mean, that's something you guys,
Well, that too.
if you see them not on the right truck route, that's an indication you're probably going to pull them over too, right? I mean,
Right, if they're not on a truck route, the officers are going to pull them over.
right. And then the randomness of it is that you're seeing things that are, out of ordinary, and then, spot
If they're not-
checks.
If they're not on a truck route and not headed towards a retail facility, so they can get off of a truck route to get to
Yes.
the last leg to wherever they need to go if they're not doing that. So if they're cutting through Catalina, and there's not a active construction project, they're getting stopped. If they're cutting through First Street, they're getting stopped.
They wouldn't dare.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
No, thank you.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Compass?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Reardon?
Aye.
Trustee Rashewski?
Aye.
Mayor Pika?
Aye. There must not be a lot of trucks in Canada. You're a little sensitive to trucks today after your vacation.
An ordinance amending permit fees for overweight and overdimension vehicles.
Mr. Mayor,
No, Trustee Reardon.
I move to recommend to the village board to adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Title IX, Traffic, Chapter 13, Fines and Permits for overweight, over-dimension vehicles, Section 9-13-2 of the Orland Park Village Code.
Second.
Any more questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Reardon?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Compass?
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
CPAC Modernization Project Phase 1 RFP 24-014.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Malani.
move to recommend to the village board to approve awarding RFP 24-014 CPAC Modernization Project Phase 1 to FH Passion, SN Nielsen and Associates LLC for a total amount not to exceed $2,387,750, which is $2,275,000 plus a contingency of $112,750.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Healy.
under the tabulation of this, this bidding, the way I was reading it, Passion has 3 omissions in their application, or their bid versus, 1 or none for others. Is this normal to omit these? I mean, they may seem trivial, but we have them out here for a reason here.
Yes, but those categories, they were able to go back and verify that they do have that information. They just, fail to provide the right exact information, so we were able to accept it.
Okay,
And we
thanks.
checked with our staff to make sure that was okay.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Compass?
Aye.
Trustee Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye.
Are there any non-scheduled citizens and visitors for public comment on items relevant to village business here to speak?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Compass.
I move to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Compass?
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas?
Aye.
Trustee Healy?
Aye.
Trustee Malani?
Aye.
Trustee Reardon?
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski?
Aye.
Mayor Pico?
Aye. We're adjourned. See you in 42 minutes.